getting confirmed. So I'm going to jot down who I'm giving these to. Okay, so you can give it to, oh, are you? Oh,
Yep, she's
great.
my sponsor.
Okay, so Mark Mia. Take it from McKinley's. And Liam? Uh-huh. And Miss Erin. Alex. Thank you. Also, I'll go ahead for confirmation people. Your first communion? Okay. For confirmation people, if your kids should have gotten the forms, if they have been misplaced, I have those. There is the link. I don't know that has anybody tried filling out their stuff on the link? Okay. If you want to give me the paper copies, have your kids give them to me, that's fine. I'll give them to Jared so he can enter all that. If they don't have it yet, that's fine. Don't panic. We just kind of put today's date as a kind of a date to have, but they still have time to work on that, especially the letter to the Archbishop. I don't want them rushing through that, and we don't need it yet. So I think they've kind of been panicked, like, I have to have it done. And I've told those that have asked me, I want you to take your time and put your, thoughts into that. So please let them know not to rush through that. They still have time with that. I think Father Dan's going to address a little bit the service hours. I know we've had some things canceled, the adoration hours and that sort of thing. But I've told them they still have through the summer to work on those, and we know it's a COVID year. So again, don't stress if it's like we can't reach that 15 and the adoration. I've also told them about the Wednesday night option for adoration from 5:30 to 6:30 that we've been doing at St. Pat's. And I've explained to the kids, in case also they haven't explained, they don't have to go in and do chapel for an hour at a time. So if 20 minutes is what they can do, that's great, just to write it down. And then I've got more papers if they need it for logging their hours. Some of them I have because I've tried to do some things in the class to give them some opportunities. We've filled holy water. There's probably some in here somewhere for both parishes, little bitty bottles of holy water that Jeannie likes to have at both parishes. The parishioners seem to really like being able to pick those up and have those. So any opportunities that I have for the kids to do that we can do in the classroom, I will give them that. And Jeannie knows any opportunities that come her way that she can send to us. She's pretty good about forwarding that to me for confirmation hours. In case you didn't see, I know I had some kids counting on doing the Garden Angels Saturday at St. Pat's. I'm sorry, but that's not going to happen. It already got mulched. So I'm sorry, that opportunity is not available now. But if any of you ever have ideas, please send them my way, and I'll certainly see what I can do. And if you have any questions about that. So any questions about anything that I can maybe answer? Is that Father Dan? Okay.
So do you want the service?
Service extra sheets? Yep. I can tell you we are still waiting. We have the date that I passed out as August 22nd. I'll look at that for a minute, Sharon. We do have our date that I have sent out in emails, August 22nd. What we don't know yet, though, is we don't have a time and we don't have a place yet. Father Dan will discuss that with the other priests in the deanery because We like to do that. It kind of goes on a rotation. St. Pat's hosted last year. So I'm sorry, you don't have that yet for me because we don't know that yet. But we do have that date. So. Well, Shannon, I might have.
That's something that the child has.
Yes, they should. They've all been given one, and it was also attached. I noticed that Jared attached it in the email that went out. So at the very bottom, there is an attachment. It looks like this. Looks like this. And I believe that was in the attachment that the email that went out. If your kids have lost it, I told them they can write on the back. So, yeah. Okay. I'll let Father Dan. Well, that's normally we have a retreat. We had it planned a retreat last year for the kids at Camp Rancho Famasa, but with COVID, that obviously didn't happen. And so I know Father Dan is probably going to talk about that. We're trying to see what a retreat kind of thing or a day thing, what that might look like for the kids. Mm-hmm. Right. I've just been kind of going over some things with them. So.
Okay.
Do you want? Sorry, he gave me this. Do you want this?
Oh yes. Excellent. All right. So here we go. So for the confirmation retreat, we were playing it by ear because of COVID, what that was going to look like this upcoming fall. Last year we had it scheduled that we were going to go to Camp Rancho for Masa, but we ended up canceling that due to COVID, and we extended that to this fall. But in talking with Jared and some of our other leaders, what we're probably going to end up doing is when we get to July and August, talk about setting a date that we would do something in-house. So rather than driving all the way to Camp Rancho for Masa and having them put on a program for us, it would be, I think, an easier, cheaper, closer option, safer option for us to be here in town. But we're still not sold on that just because we don't know what COVID's going to look like going through the summer months and into the fall. So we're gonna play that by ear. We're hoping, of course, with the vaccine coming out, we're a blue county, things are looking good, that we may be able to schedule something for July, August. But we will get you that date as soon as we know if we're going to be doing that. The other benefit for us doing it here is there wouldn't be an added expense as there would be if we went to camp of athletes. And so like last year, I mean, we had both boys and girls that chose that name. We've had Saint Cecilia chosen quite a bit for music lovers. And you can just kind of go down the list. Different saints, if they love animals, St. Francis, like you can go down the list. But yes, we do need to get those turned in sooner rather than later, because once we hit the summer months, it's much harder to get things turned in. So we wanted to set this parent meeting up so that you still have a little bit of time before the end of the school year to get those things turned in as far as the parent name and then the
letter.
The letter, yeah, the bishop's letter.
If you're wondering why that might seem early.
Short, long sleeved, or wearing a sport jacket is completely up to you. So all those are optional. The girls are to wear white dresses. Spaghetti straps to be worn. Also, the dress is not to have a train or to drag on the floor because there will be people coming in behind them, although 6 feet of social distancing, we won't avoid that. We have a hard time keeping the children separated when in procession. Oh yeah, good picture. The color of their shoes, again, no tennis shoes for the girls, or the wearing of, the color of their shoes or the wearing of white gloves is optional. So the color of the shoes doesn't matter as long as it's not tennis shoes. White gloves, some girls prefer to wear white gloves to match the dress. Some do not. It's completely optional. If they do wear white gloves, we would ask that they remove them before coming up for communion. So we have Jeannie available this evening in the corner over there, and she does have those. And I'll let Jared know we might need to do like an email vote from the bulk of the school kids to see what their preference is. Okay. Okay, yeah, and there's also a link on the schools, or no, on our Sunday Visitor online giving to pay for the banner as well. So if you'd like to do it that way, you can. And there are links on our websites. Okay. For the, so we're not going to be doing a rehearsal for First Holy Eucharist this year. And we did the same thing last year where we forewent a rehearsal, mainly because for First Holy Eucharist, the only reason we would do rehearsals was for the procession in. Because it was always a very elaborate thing. Like they would have a stalk of wheat that they would bring in, they would place it in a vase, and then they would stand by their pew, and then they'd all genuflect together, and then they'd all, move into their pews together, and it was very, very nice, but we're really not going to be doing a procession at all this year, again, just to avoid any further contact than we need to with the procession. And so without a need for a rehearsal, we are also not going to assign pews to families. So it's going to be first come, first serve. Now, here at St. Margaret Mary's, slightly different because we've only got a few kids. So we'll make sure that the first few pews are reserved for those families. And so those will just be available, but it's not like you're going to have one pew specifically assigned to your family. It'll just be whichever pew you take. So, and at St. Patrick's, it will be the main body of the church because the number of First Holy Eucharist candidates there, it will take every pew of the main body of the church. And so for those will be set up in such a way that they will be able to take a picture of them receiving their first communion. And then we can make sure that gets to you after the fact. And so that way you have that moment. With it being a COVID year, this is the other thing. There will not be a chalice available because we were able to do it if we just had like one or two recipients of First Holy Eucharist. And so like last year, we were kind of scattering it around, and we could do it with them, but for a group of the size that we have both at St. Margaret Mary's and St. Patrick's, we won't be able to do the chalice. So unfortunately, for their first communion, they will just receive the body of Christ, but know that is sufficient to count for the fullness of receiving Christ in Holy Eucharist. So it's not like they're going to be missing some graces or God's going to withhold something from them. And that's good to explain to them that even though they're not going to receive the blood of Christ, they are receiving the blood of Christ. It is within the body as well. So, if that makes sense. That's all I've got from Jared's notes. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. So for both masses, just show up an hour beforehand, and we'll get the photographer thing figured out when we reach out to the wider parent community. But any questions from you guys at least? Okay. That'd be fine. Whatever she'd be comfortable doing. If she can stay in the pew with the other family, that'd be ideal. But if she's needing to be with you, that's perfectly fine. And we've had that before. If you have youngsters that are wanting to be with their parents, perfectly fine. Yeah. Yep. We're pretty flexible with that. Okay. Any other thoughts, questions? And so, and especially at St. Patrick's, the no assigning of pews will be a little bit trickier, but it still should work in theory where it's just first come, first serve, because there doesn't need to be a distinct ordering, of who's receiving when. And so in the past, the only reason we did that is it just made it much easier when we did the procession in the back to have kids lined up the way that they needed to be. So, what's up? Yeah, that's a good point. Yes. Yeah. So we want the parents, and even the rest of the family to some degree, dress appropriately, for Mass. So I would avoid things like blue jeans and, T-shirts and things like that, tennis shoes, but you don't necessarily need to rent a tux, for... Right, exactly, yeah, exactly. So she'd be fine doing that, yes. But to dress nicely. Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Okay. Any other questions for second grade? Okay. Well, if you need to make your way to Jeannie to get a hold of a banner, if you haven't already, those are available. And we will let you know about the photographer and what the consensus is about whether we can take a group photo or if we're just going to be doing individual. We'll let you know. COVID has just thrown so many things out of whack. It's kind of crazy, but we really appreciate your patience. And thank you for coming out this evening. And it just kind of puts everyone on the same page so that no one falls between the cracks. So I think that's it. And Kathy, I don't know if you've got anything extra?
No. Nope.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's it for the meeting. Prima, were we able to record any of that, or was it?
The last part, I have all of it. But, most of the stuff that will be
Okay.
I can at least post those.
Right, and that'd be fine. So we'll just post it after the fact. And we'll send out an email to the parents. So, all right, well, thank you guys. Appreciate you coming out again. And, yeah, stay safe and have a good Holy Week. And like I said, if you need to see Jeannie, she is available afterwards. So, thank you. Right. So it'd be the $15. Yep. That's right. Yep. Perfect.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
So you put out half things.
Right. Yes. Exactly.